Meal planning isn't difficult, or at least it doesn't have to be. These 4 simple steps are all you need to know to get more organised when it comes to your nutrition and save money while you do it. Hi, my name is Sorcha. I'm a nutritionist, healthy lifestyle blogger and ballet fitness instructor from Ireland. And in today's video, I'm going to do a complete video on how to do a meal plan. So from the very beginning to the very end. This is for complete beginners. There is nothing difficult in it, and it will really save you time and money, and it will ultimately help you eat healthier. The first thing you need to do is decide what meals are you going to make. So I sometimes use cookbooks. This would be probably my favourite. It's a really good Italian cookbook if you like Italian food like me. I've had cookbooks since when I was a kid. Look, if it says kids cookbook, it normally means the recipes are really, really easy and really basic. So kids cookbooks are great. I really like Jamie Oliver as well. Some of his recipes, like, they have weird ingredients in them that are hard to get, and my family don't like fussy. They like plain normal food. So we like things that are easy and they're plain and there's not a lot of fancy ingredients in them, which is basically what most people are looking for now. Alternatively, what I mostly use is the internet. The internet is great. There are so many websites that do great recipes. And the thing is, if you find a recipe and it's pretty much perfect except for 1 or 2 things, you can change it. If there's an ingredient in it that you don't like, or you are allergic to, or you just can't find, you can either just leave it out, or you can use the internet to find out what is a good alternative. So that's what I normally do. Now also, once you've decided on your meals, or while you're deciding on your meals, you do have to take into account a few things. First of all, how many people are you cooking for? So is it for a full family of people, or is it just for yourself, or is it for 2 people? Because that will decide how much of the meals you're going to have to make, how large the meals are going to have to be. Another thing is, who are you cooking for? So people have dislikes and likes. There's no point you spending time cooking a meal when you know the people you're cooking it for don't like it or are not likely to eat it. So, for example, there's no point me spending hours cooking a really elaborate fancy seafood dish when I know that the majority of my family are not going to want to try it, which is fine because people have their likes and dislikes. So who are you cooking for and how many? Also, do the people you're cooking for have any intolerances or allergies? Because that is an important one, because it's not good when you spend time making a meal and then you realise that that person can't eat it because it has a certain ingredient in it. So those would be the 3 main things. So how many people you're cooking for, who are you cooking for, and allergies and intolerances. And once you know them things, it's very easy then you can decide what meals. And then you can do up a meal plan. So this is a meal plan that I've done, and in the description below there is a link that will take you to a folder, Google Drive folder, that has this particular meal plan for this video, and it also has all the recipes, and yeah, it has all the recipes that are included in this meal plan. So you can get that, that's completely free. Basically, you don't have to type it out, you can just write it really roughly. And you do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You do breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. Now, like I said in most of my other videos, having a really strict meal plan that you have to stick to is never going to work. This meal plan might change throughout the week, and it probably will, but having an idea of what you're going to make is a lot better than having no idea at all. Some of these meals include leftovers from the day before. So for example, in this video, I'm going to make spaghetti bolognese, and that is for Wednesday. And then on Thursday, the leftover bolognese can be used for lasagna, because that's basically what the meat part in lasagna is. So then if you have a roast chicken for Sunday dinner, and there's nearly always chicken left over, on the Monday you could use it to make apple and pear curry, which is in the meal plan, and the recipe is on my website as well. There's also a video if you prefer videos. So what else is there? Yeah, so, and they're easy meals, like oven chips with homemade beef burgers. Like, you might think, oh, homemade beef burgers, they're not difficult to make. You literally get mince and you put some onions in them, an egg yolk, mix it up in a bowl, make it into the shape of a burger. You can fry it, or you can grill it, or you can oven cook it. It's really not that difficult. So, yeah, and what else? Yeah, so basically those are the dinners. I've got some snacks in there as well. Things like Ben & Jerry's. Anybody like Ben & Jerry's? I actually don't like ice cream that much, but I do like the cookie dough Ben & Jerry's, but I mostly eat the cookie dough out of it, so there's that. There's really nice yogurts that I like called nomadic yogurts, and they've got like little clusters on them. They're actually really good source of fibre as well, so you should check them out. But like, this is just something that I done up, and you can do up your own. The next step is to write a list of ingredients. Now this list is going to be long, because you're writing all the ingredients you're going to need for all of the meals that you're going to make. But once you've got the list made, so once again, don't have to type it, you can just write it. You are going to go through your presses and see what ingredients you already have. So now we're going to go for a little walk. We're going to check in all our presses, the fridge, the freezer, everywhere that there would be food. And we're going to see what foods we already have and don't need to buy again. So always check your fridge, especially because a lot of the time there's stuff in your fridge that is ready to go off. So you know that you need to eat that soon. And then as well as that, if you buy something that you already have, likely you're going to have to throw some of it out, because you're not going to eat it all in time. And then that is where we get food wastage, and that's not good, because we don't want to waste food, first of all, and also that is a waste of money. Now the freezer is another thing. Like, our freezer is pretty packed, and a lot of people forget about stuff in the freezer. They put it in the freezer and they don't use it then. Always check your freezer, see what you have in your freezer, and then what you can do is actually start eating the food from your freezer, especially meat. Meat goes in the freezer and it's forgot about, and meat's expensive. So make sure you're checking in your freezer. A really good idea to label things as well, because a lot of the time when meat is frozen, you don't know what it is until it's defrosted. And use the meat in your freezer, use the food in your freezer, use the leftovers you put in the freezer, and that will save you a lot of money as well. Once you've gone round your kitchen, you've checked what foods you have, you will do this. You will mark them off on the list, so you do not need them anymore. So we do not need onions, we don't need... So what you'll find is the list will get a lot smaller, especially things like spices, herbs, dried herbs, canned things like canned tomatoes, canned beans. We tend to buy them in bulk anyway, because number one, they're quite inexpensive. Number two, they have long shelf lives. So you don't normally have to buy them very often. Things you probably will have to buy is the fresher things. So meat products, dairy products maybe, maybe there's something new, you're trying out a new recipe and there's something in it that you wouldn't normally use. So would you mark them off your list because you don't need to buy them. You can do up a new list if you want, or you can just use the one with the marks through it. And that is your grocery list. The next step is to get the groceries. So I usually go to Aldi, but you can go wherever. All these beans are so nutritious and they're so inexpensive too. Then you've got your fresh herbs, but you can also use dried if you prefer. Frozen fruit and vegetables are a great way to get fruit and vegetables in, so try frozen. Then you've got your pastas, your rices, your noodles, kind of your long shelf life products that you can buy in bulk because they don't go out of date in a hurry, so you can buy them in bulk. Then you've got your meat. So Aldi does have great quality meat. It's not overly priced or anything like that. Chicken would be the least expensive meat, but as I said in one of my other videos, don't always just go for the chicken breast. It's the most expensive part. Try the different parts. Now that we're back from Aldi, we've got our groceries, we can start thinking pre-preparing some of the meals. Now, looking at the meal plan, things that we could pre-prepare. Well, I'm going to make bolognese today for dinner anyway, so I can do that and I can keep some for tomorrow and make lasagna. Also, things like the apple and pear chicken curry, they can be kept in the fridge for up to 3 days. When you cook chicken, now as long as it's by the use-by date and it doesn't look funny or smell funny, it can be kept in the fridge for up to 3 days. Same with hard-boiled eggs. So if you boil an egg and keep it in the shell, you can keep it in the fridge for up to a week. And that's great for things like salads, sandwiches. They're already made, so it takes a lot of time off. And then other things like this bolognese could be kept in the fridge in a container up to 3 days as well. And other things can be kept. So the salad that's going to be used in the Mediterranean lunch bowl, it's green salads. A lot of the time we find that they go very, I don't know the word, limp. Very soon after buying them. Put them into an airtight container. And so you really need an airtight containers for food storage. And then put a paper towel on, and that soaks up the extra moisture, and that should keep them fresher for a little bit longer. Tomatoes, keep them in the fridge because that prevents them from ripening. When they ripe, they go soft. But if they do go soft, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to throw them out. You can use them to make a tomato sauce, which can be used on pasta. So it's about being smart with your food. Just because it's maybe not looking at its best does not mean it needs to be thrown out. Things like meat products and dairy products, yes, you do need to be careful with them, and eggs as well. But things like fruit and vegetables, even when they're starting to look a bit not at their best, they're still perfectly fine to eat. So just remember that. Now we're going to make bolognese. I have the recipe for this. All the recipes that are used in this meal plan, like I said, are in the folder that's in the link in the description box, so you can try and make it yourself, but we're just going to quickly go through it now. Now we're going to make my spaghetti bolognese recipe, and it's a bit different from your average spaghetti bolognese because we're going to use chickpeas in it, but we're also going to use mince. So you still use your mince, but you don't use as much. You use beans. Beans are a good source of protein, they're a good source of fibre, they're also low in saturated fat. So they're a great way to up the nutrition in the meals, but they're also really cheap. Like 1 can of beans is like 54 cents. So by using beans in recipes like spaghetti bolognese, cottage pie, lasagna, you are going to reduce the cost. But we're going to make this bolognese recipe, and look, it's probably not traditionally Italian because it has adapted over the years. I usually use courgettes in it, but I couldn't find any yesterday, so I'm just going to leave it out. So I'm going to start off with my olive oil in a pan, about a tablespoon, and I'm going to start with my onions. So this is about one large onion. Just get it in there. And I'm just going to cook them for about 1 minute. Next, we're going to add the carrots. So I've cut them into little squares. You can cut them whatever way you like, but that is 2 carrots. And obviously, if you're making it for a lot of people, or if you do want to have leftovers to make something for the next day, then you would up the ingredients. So we're just going to cook that. Now we're going to add in the chickpeas. Now, if you've never used chickpeas before, you must drain them, and not drain them, rinse them, wash them. Thank the Lord. You need to wash them, so put them in a colander and just run them under cold water. That'll start to like fizz up. Wait till the water stops fizzing up, and you just throw in, that's 1 can of chickpeas. You can also use, I usually use cannellini beans, but Aldi didn't seem to have them today, so I'm using chickpeas instead. You can use any kind of beans, so there's kidney beans, black beans, lima beans. Beans tend not to, and chickpeas kind of come under beans. Beans tend not to have a lot of taste on them, which is why you get baked beans, they're in a tomato sauce. So you're not really going to taste them in this, because there's going to be the bolognese sauce, and also the flavour from the mince, and the flavour from the other vegetables. So we're just going to let that cook for another 3 minutes, and then what we're going to do is we're going to just pour it into a plate, and we're going to cook the mince separately, and then we're going to join them together. Now it's time to cook the mince. So you've removed the vegetable mixture from the pan. You probably need to add another bit of olive oil to the pan. And you're going to add your mince. So this is about 500 grams of mince, and then there's the 400 grams of flipper 400 grams of the beans. Sorry, I'm forgetting how to speak English today. So you're just gonna, if you're wondering what's wrong with my hand, I sprained my wrist, so cooking isn't exactly easy. It took me ages to chop everything as well.
2 hours later.
And there you go. And you're going to cook that mince until it's brown through. Now that your mince is cooked through and it's nice, a brown colour, you basically add in everything. So add in your vegetable chickpea mixture into it and mix it all up. So this is making quite a large portion, so this will definitely have leftovers that can be used tomorrow for lasagna. So just make sure you get it all mixed up in there. And now you're going to add your tinned tomatoes. So I've got 2 tinned tomatoes. Tinned tomatoes would be something that I would always keep in my press, so always have some tinned tomatoes on hand. They're so handy. They can be used in a lot of things as well. So just mix them in. I could have done with using a bigger pan, but it's too late now. And then once you've got that mixed in, you're going to add in just a small bit of stock. So you don't want to use too much liquid in it because you don't want it to be really watery. This is a beef stock, but you can use any kind of stock cube. So vegetable, probably not chicken because, well, there's no chicken in this. Vegetable or beef. And if you were making this and you were a vegetarian, you would obviously not put in the mince. You would just use chickpeas or beans, and you would use a vegan stock cube. So put that all in there. And now I'm going to add some garlic powder, or you could use fresh garlic, but I'm just going to use a bit of garlic powder, so you can use a small bit. It's about a teaspoon. Mix that all in. And now I'm going to add some basil. So this is fresh basil. This is from my basil plant, and it smells amazing. You can also use this at the end to garnish, but I'm going to put in some now. And another thing that you could add, if you have it, is some red wine. So like 1 cup of red wine. Don't have any, so can't add it. But add in the red wine, the alcohol evaporates off, and it does give it a nice taste. So you're just going to leave that basically to simmer for about 30 minutes, and that is it done. So that is everything. So if we're going to go through the steps again, number 1, you need to plan your meals. Number 2, you need to write a list of all the ingredients that you need, and then you need to go through your presses, your fridge, your freezer, and see what ingredients you already have. Then mark them off the list. Number 3 is obviously you need to get the groceries. And then number 4 is check what meals you can pre-prepare. Also, check any ingredients you can pre-prepare that you could have in the fridge ready to use in things like salads or sandwiches or just as an ingredient in a meal. Now I'm going to talk about the PDF meal plan that I mentioned earlier. So this is it, and you can get this in the Google Drive folder in the description box below. It's a template. Look, you can follow it and try it, but you can also use it to try your own things. And you can see that some of the meals use leftovers from the day before, and it's pretty simple, basic meal plan. Then for the recipes that are used in the meal plan, they are also in the Google Drive folder, and you can get some of them on my website as well. But the bolognese one that was used in today's video, it will look something like this. So you will have all ingredients, obviously, and the amounts, and you'll have the cooking directions. But you'll also have this front page, which shows you the nutrient content, and it also shows you like anything that would be allergy. So in it would be there, and it's good for, say if you are somebody who's a type 1 diabetic and you need to count your carbs, it does show you how much carbs are in the meat. And also if you're maybe watching your salt levels, or if you're watching your saturated fat levels. So it is good to know the nutrient content. It's not essential for a lot of people. Type 1 diabetics need to know carbohydrate content because they need to give insulin for it. But apart from that, you really don't need to track your macronutrients or your micronutrients or your calories. Your body should be able to tell you when you have enough. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you have learnt anything from this video, comment below and let me know. Or if you have any other tips that you use when you're meal planning, comment below. It's great to share ideas. It might help somebody out. Also, if you like these videos, so budget meal planning videos that help you save money while still eating healthier, then be sure to subscribe to my channel because I do loads of these videos. And see you next time. Bye. If you like this video and would like to learn more about eating well on a budget, be sure to check out my budget healthy living playlist.